Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this video, it's finally time to look at the top 10 figures for 2017. Now this is probably the toughest year that I've had to do this. So many figures are easily interchangeable. They're all very comparable in terms of quality. There weren't too many that stood out above the rest. So this is going to be, as much as I'd like it to be a completely objective list, it's going to be somewhat subjective. Of course, there are figures that didn't make the list that could easily be on it. I'm very aware that there are good figures out there that aren't on here, and maybe some of these aren't as good as some of those, depending on how you're feeling on the day that you make the list. But this is the one I've come up with, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But let's go ahead and get started with a nice honorable mention. The Cyclops and Dark Phoenix 2-pack is a really fantastic pack. Don't get me wrong, in terms of Marvel Legends, this is one of the cooler things we've had in a very long time. The only reason it doesn't make a higher spot on the list is simply that it reuses almost all of the parts. I mean, not too much of this pack is new. So yes, it's fantastic, we got a whole lot of cool stuff in this set, but it just doesn't really pass the bar. It's a really nice set, very cool, definitely worth checking out, but I couldn't put it any higher simply because it's mostly a repaint pack. Coming in at number 10 is kind of an interesting thing. It's the NECA quarter scale movie Ninja Turtles, and the reason they're not higher is because they're mostly the same as the figure which came out last year, the first one, Donatello. So I felt like it wasn't really fair for me to put them higher up, since this year they are mostly reused parts. Now don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic set of figures. It's one of my personal favorites, but objectively speaking, they do reuse, most of them at least, reuse most of the parts that the other ones share. Largely just the heads and belts, and colors are different. I know we do have a few different things with the shells and arms, but they're not entirely new figures, so I just felt that it wasn't fair for me to put it higher up on the list this year. But definitely fantastic figures. Obviously they did make the list, so make sure you check them out. Coming in at number 9, we have the Mega Optimus Prime, which gets a huge bump in bonus points just for being so massive at a fairly low price point given the size. It's a really, really cool figure. I think it's a must-have for any Transformers fan. No, it doesn't transform, that's why it's low on the list, and it doesn't have the best paint job or quality overall, but again, it's a humongous figure, and it does have fantastic articulation, and it comes in at a very fair price point, so it's definitely something you need to check out if you're at all a Transformers fan. It's one of those kind of conversation pieces which I think everybody should have in their collection. Coming in at number 8, we have the Marvel Legends Angela figure. Now, one of the things holding this figure back is that it's Angela, which is a cool character design, but not a particularly important character, which is very troubling just because it's such a really good Marvel Legends figure. Why they chose to put so much effort into this one, the world may never know, but it's really, really nice. It comes with some accessories, it has a whole lot of new tooling, it has a whole lot of paint on it, some really nice sculpt work, and standard Marvel Legends articulation. So again, it's not like the most impressive thing ever, but in terms of Marvel Legends, we don't see this level of quality very often. So it definitely makes it on the list, just not that high on the list. Coming in at number 7, we have the SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball Z Nappa, which is almost a perfect figure. And I say almost because of the two flaws it really only has. One being that the shoulders don't work very well at all, and the second being that his energy effect looks kinda like a fart cloud. Otherwise, this guy is just fantastic. He's got some nice shading, some really solid paintwork, and overall just a very appealing aesthetic. If you see this figure, you're gonna be like, hey, that's Nappa. It's very nice. I guess it could be a little bit taller too, so technically 3 flaws, but those are 3 flaws that don't really knock this figure down that far. It's definitely one you should have in your DBZ collection, so make sure you go check it out. Coming in at number 6, we have 2 figures. We have the SH Figure Arts Ryu and Chun-Li. Now, the reason these guys aren't higher up on the list is simply the styling. They don't match the source material. They're very anime looking as opposed to the Street Fighter V look, which is a little bit more realistic and gritty. That being said, these are 2 of my most favorite figures this year by far. The Chun-Li in particular is just so well engineered and well executed, and Ryu as well. Aside from a few minor issues with like the texturing on his gi or the gap at the shoulders, it's a really, really solid figure. If Bandai had decided to make these guys accurate. These guys would have easily been the #1 spot on the list. It's just that it's not accurate to the source material, so it couldn't get any higher. Coming in at number 5, we have 2 more SH Figuarts figures. We have Super Saiyan 3 Goku and God Goku. Now these are very similar figures. They share a lot of the same parts, and even the parts that are different share very similar styling, so that's why they're kind of interchangeable. You can kind of take your pick as to which one you prefer if you're not going to get both. But these guys are just really, really well done. They're almost exactly what they should be. Super Saiyan 3 could use a little bit more shading and maybe an energy effect, but he does come with a stand and has really great stylings and articulation. And then for God Goku, he does come with that shading and he looks just fantastic, but he does not come with any energy effect parts, so that is a little knock for that guy. That's why they're not higher up, but otherwise these guys are just really fantastic and a must-have for any DBZ collector. Coming in at number 4, we have the Transformers masterpiece Beast Wars Cheetor, which is by far one of my favorite figures this year. This guy would easily be the #1 spot if his price point wasn't so damn high. These masterpiece Beast Wars figures are just really raking in the cash over there, but they are fantastic. If you're a Beast Wars fan, there is no better option. And sometimes that doesn't mean anything, but in this case it does, because these guys are basically perfect. There's almost nothing to complain about other than the price point. So if you're into this sort of thing, you definitely need to check this guy out. He's easily one of the best Transformers figures out there. Coming in at number 3, we have the Figma Samus from Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. This figure is such a marked improvement over the original one, which was already a fantastic figure. This figure is basically everything everybody wants out of a Samus figure, except they didn't give us any accessories. That's a huge knock for this figure. Why does Samus, who is basically a walking arsenal, not have any accessories? That's the biggest problem with this thing. It's a really solid figure otherwise. Aesthetically, it's engineered well. It's just everything you need in a Samus figure other than the accessories. So it's a must-have, but we also must have some accessories. And I'm trying to do something about that, so stay tuned for that. Coming in at number 2, we have the Play Arts Kai Marvel variant Wolverine. The topic of some contention: is he over-designed? Is he not? I would argue not. That's why he's so high on the list. He's easily the best Wolverine figure we have. There's nothing better out there. If you don't like the styling, that's a fair argument and that this wouldn't be for you. But if you can get past this unique styling, it's a fantastic figure. The only real downside to this guy is that the claws are a little weird looking. They're not bad, but they are not necessarily good. Otherwise, this guy is just fantastic. The range of motion works very nicely. You can pose him very well, and the paint job is just fantastic. The sculpt is great. There's really nothing they left uncovered on this guy, except for maybe the styling of the claws. And then lastly, coming in at number 1, we have a whole slew of figures from Storm Collectibles. And the reason I put them all on here, I'm not going to show you all of them because it would take too long, but the reason I'm including them all is because they're all fairly well interchangeable. And that's kind of one of the benefits of this line. Now I know we get a lot of interchangeable figures from SH Figuarts. I mean, it's a big line, covers all kinds of different things, but this Storm line provides a really quality figure at a lower price point relative to the size and the number of accessories. These guys all come with interchangeable parts and energy effects. I mean, there's just so much going on with these guys, you really can't beat it. And just to be clear, Storm has no idea I'm including them in this list at all, so it's not like I'm being coaxed into including them or anything like that. I haven't gotten a review sample from them in a while. Things like that are not weighing in on this. This is just a really fantastic line. Whether it's the Mortal Kombat line or the Street Fighter line, you really can't go wrong. Now that's not to say every figure is perfect. There have definitely been a fair share of issues with these figures, but by and large, for the money, I don't think you can beat these figures this year. So that's why they come in at number 1, and that's why I think you should at least pick up one, pick out a character you like, try it out, see what you think, and I bet you're gonna be hooked. So there it is, guys. There's my top 10 list for 2017. Make sure you let me know what you thought. I'm sure there are going to be people who disagree out there, so if you do, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below which figure was your favorite, which was your least favorite. I don't think we're going to do a bottom 10 list this year just because, you know, it's not a happy video to make, so I think we're going to skip that. So we can talk about that in the comment section below, which were the worst figures. up against the best figures of the year. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do have new videos up every single day, with minor exceptions. And we talk about all kinds of different things. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.